It's Joe, and this is my next project. Is everybody working on their car this Saturday? Because I am. That's just my favorite thing to do. I love hanging out in the shop, working on the car. If you've got a hot rod you've been working on, rat rod, or whatever it is you work on, whatever your project is, post it up. Let's see it. This car's been so much fun, and we're almost down to the end of the suspension part where we can start on the body part. The body part is more like art class. This suspension stuff's like math class, and I'm ready to get into the art. I'm ready to build these door hinges, cap these doors for the final time, make them work, make the hood fit, open and close, however that's gonna open. I don't know if it's gonna open back or open forward or sideways. I don't know. Hadn't decided that yet, but it's coming. We got the front suspension mounted, rotates around this bolt on the radius rod. It's all mounted to the front end here. This is gonna get a cap on it. It's not gonna be the ugly piece that you see right now. I've got a cool idea planned to cover that up. Got the coilovers mounted. These are really coilovers. They're not just shocks. There's springs that go over there. I just took them off where I could cycle it up and down a little bit. We are so close to the end. What is left is the Panhard Rod. And it is going to go right in this area through here. We're gonna connect the frame to the axle. And the Panhard Rod's job is to keep the car centered on the axle. And what I have decided is we will have a bracket that'll come up off the frame here, pivot point 2 inches tall. We'll have another bracket that will come down right under here, pivot point 3 inches down. That puts the Panhard bar level at about 8.5 inches up. Now, different cars run different heights. Panhard bar, that locates the roll center. That's, you go into the intersection and your car rolls way over a lot, chances are it's got a below ground roll center because it has unequal length A-arms. And they're not set up to handle well from the factory, especially the older cars. Newer cars are a little better. Anyway, some race cars run it real low. This particular car is going to have an 8.5 inch or 8.25 inch roll center. The original axle here that came out of the 2002 Great Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo had a Panhard bar. I believe it was right here. Probably went uphill like this. So that put it on the original tires. This would have been about 17 inches. So it was probably 20 inches tall. And there's four-wheel drive stuff that has really tall roll centers. Anyhow, ours is going to be 8.25 tall. And here is the challenge. We had discussed earlier that our steering arm is really close here. Not scary close, but pretty ding-dang close. And here's what we need to take into consideration. What is going to happen when the front suspension cycles? Now, I've told you I cycled this up and down with a jack, but that's not real life. That's not what happens. What happens is this stays pretty much steady and the body moves up and down. And with a Panhard bar, it also moves side to side ever so slightly depending on where you mount this Panhard rod. So if I were to mount it here with a little tab and an axle tab down here, then when this frame goes up and down, it would pivot and around this bolt in an arc like this. That's dramatic, but in an arc like this, correct? And we plan on pushing this front end down this distance, which is about 4 inches. Hopefully we can get 4 inches way out here and get the nose to sit on the ground. We'll see. But anyway, we're going to go down a lot and up a little. If we had the tab here and the axle tab here, this arc will move like this. And what that's going to do when this frame moves over, you move down 4 inches, it's going to move over about 1/2 inch. It's going to move this over to the left 1/2 inch, which is going to move this over just a tiny bit. And if it rubs a ring on my steering shaft, that's no good. So we put the tab over here off the frame, the tab right here off of the axle. Now when it pivots, when it goes down 4 inches and it arcs a little bit and moves, it's going to move to the right 1/2 inch, possibly. It'll move this shock mount to the right 1/2 inch, possibly. And it will be moving away from here. No ring on the steering shaft is the goal. No touchy. So that's where we are today. It doesn't seem like much, but it really is. We have to have this lined up there, and over here has to be centered, and I think it is. It's pretty close. I will get it fine-tuned before I weld anything in there. Also, the Panhard rod will expand and contract as we want it to help center that. I'm thrilled. I can't wait to get this body going. That's my favorite thing. I'm gonna cut off this rocker panel here. Anyway, I'm getting off subject. I'm gonna go cut some stuff up, and I'll be right back. Well, and that didn't take very long. And here we are, finished product. See if we can get you where you can see that. We cut these brackets out of a 3/8 piece of plate, and it's an old plate. You can see it's pitted in there. We soaked them in muriatic acid, and boy, they came out gray like you painted them. They were just beautiful. And then they immediately started to rust, which was nice. 16-inch Panhard bar on the level. I think that kind of nails down all the front suspension. We'll see if we have any problems later on. And like I said, we are going to build some cool covers for this where that doesn't look as much like hardware and has a little art to it. And we're going to get started on this body. We've got to refine the body, and I think the first thing, perhaps the first thing could be some kind of door hinge here. These Volkswagens, the door hinge, they got a nice bottom door hinge down in here, and they have a similar one. See, it sticks outside the door. It's not a compound door hinge like the old Chevrolet pickups and stuff had. It kind of sticks out. And this one up here stuck out too, but it stuck out up high. It was in the mirror. This was the front of the car and the mirror, and that thing was sticking out like that. So we cut it off. Everything works on the door except the top door hinge. And once we get that done, we can cap this door nicely with C-purlin like this, and it won't be a choppy job. It'll look good. And maybe we can get to building the grill, build the hood, make it open and close. We really need to get these windshield posts. I've got most of this stuff figured out, not the windshield post. That's hadn't quite got that figured out yet. I got the little back glass 99 Mercury Sable, I think. That sort of thing. Got to figure these tires out. We will be building a firewall, mountain brake booster, master cylinder, floorboard. Lots of fun stuff to do. And we'll mount this top, clean this top up. Gonna be nice, lots of projects. If you've got a project that you're proud of, put it up. Put it up in the comments section. I think you can do that. Can't wait to see it. Thanks for tuning in.